Hey everyone, welcome back to Mainly Facts. Let's jump right into today's compilation.
Story 1. Am I the a-hole for telling another gym member to wear a bra? I, 25 female, effing hate wearing bras. They're uncomfortable, constricting, and expensive. With work from home, I spent the last year and a half basically never wearing a bra and got used to it. Quite frankly, my boobs are non-existent anyways. I recently started going to the gym again and started working out braless. I should note that up until now, no one has ever pointed out anything wrong with me not wearing a bra. However, in the middle of a set of squats, yes, mid-squat, a guy comes up to me, taps me on the shoulder to get my attention, and tells me that my nipples are poking through my shirt. I get really irritated because why the F is this guy staring at my nipples in the first place and then stopping me mid-set to inform me? I get really annoyed, try to finish my set, but then this effer literally grabs the bar as I ascend and re-racks it for me. He claims it looked like I was having trouble with the last rep and that he had come over to make sure I could do it, then noticed my nipples. I'm really effing peed off at this point and told him I didn't need his help finishing my set and why the F was he looking at my chest in the first place. He said he was going to spot me but then noticed my chest and thought it'd be inappropriate. I pointed out that the safety bar was set, so even if I did fail the set, he wasn't needed. But he just insisted people at gyms look out for each other and that going forward I should probably wear a bra so other people wouldn't get uncomfortable and that it may help me stay more balanced in my squats. I'm literally the only girl at the weight section of the gym at the moment, and the other guys who were squatting and failed sets never have to worry about this crap. I've seen guys fail multiple sets in a row and no one ever rushes to their aid, but I have a very slight pause and everyone thinks I need rescuing. So now I'm really annoyed and also kind of uncomfortable that this guy I've never spoken to in my life thinks he's helping me and then has the audacity to tell me how to dress. So I tell him, "You have bigger boobs and nipples than I do. Maybe you should wear a bra so people won't get uncomfortable and you won't fail your squats." He then got really defensive, saying he was just trying to help, then called me a B. Honestly, I'm not sure if I overreacted, but I'm still kind of peed off, so maybe that's clouding my judgment. Am I the a-hole? Okay, you are not the a-hole, first off, for a number of reasons. A, at the gym, you don't rush over and start, doing, like taking stuff from someone just because they've paused for a second. If someone like gives you a look like, or they say like, help or spot or something like that, yeah, do it. If they want a spot, they will let you know beforehand. You don't just go over and be like, well, looks like you can't handle that. Let me help. Like, no, that's just normal gym etiquette. Guy, gal, non-binary pal, you don't do that to people unless they genuinely look like they're in trouble. And if the safeties are on, just chill out. Second, as far as bras, who cares? I don't care if your boobs are bigger or not, whatever. Oh my god, I could see the nipples through your shirt. So what? Who cares? Just leave it be. It's nipples. This person is not going around shirtless and everything. And even if they were, I genuinely wouldn't have a problem with it. We make such a big deal out of breasts. Just calm down, folks. Breasts, pecs, all that kind of stuff, they're great, but just calm down. But the person's wearing a shirt, so maybe focus on yourself, my dude, because clearly you need some work. And I'm not just talking about your bicep curls or whatever, you jerk. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for telling my mother-in-law she can no longer have contact with my son? I'm a single mom, 42 female, of 4. Arden, 13 female, Brianne, 11 female, Robin, 10 male, and Kaya, 7 female. All of us except Robin are deaf, with ASL as our first language. Arden and Brianne's dad, 46 male, left when the girls were 4 and 2, and at Kaya's dad, Alex, 43 male, shortly after. He had just come into custody of his nephew, Robin. Robin's bio mom, Layla, 47 female, gave Robin up to focus on recovering from her long-term drug addiction. Robin is fully aware of who his bio mom is, but considers Alex to be his dad and has called me his mom since the age of 2 or 3-ish. Layla has told me in the past how grateful she is for me filling that role and that she feels more like Robin's aunt than his mom. All this to say, when Alex was diagnosed with cancer 2 years ago, it was pretty clear to all of us that I would continue to raise Robin as my son after Alex's death. Alex passed away in June, and ever since, his mom has been causing problems. While she's never been outwardly hostile towards me/my children, she often complains about our use of American Sign Language. Most of the family learned at least some basics to support communication, but mother-in-law insisted she was too old and couldn't do it, and has made comments in the past about my inability as a mother due to my deafness. My older girls are practically non-existent to her, and she often forgets that Kaya is her grandchild too and focuses solely on Robin. Mother-in-law spent most of the funeral telling people that I was unfit and trying to steal Robin away from his real family. It was hurtful to say the least and made me uncomfortable welcoming mother-in-law into my home after that, but I convinced myself that it was for the best benefit of the kids. They've just lost their dad. I didn't want to take away my grandparents too. Last Saturday, Robin came back from an outing with mother-in-law looking miserable. He wouldn't talk to anyone about what had happened and spent the rest of the weekend shut away in his room. I tried to ask mother-in-law what was going on, but she didn't answer any of my messages. Finally, Robin broke down in tears asking me if Grandma was really going to take him away. It turns out that mother-in-law has been repeatedly telling Robin that she's going to take him away from us, even telling him she'll call CPS on me to have the kids removed. On Saturday, mother-in-law had gone even further, saying she could just drive away from him and he'd never have to see us again. I immediately sent mother-in-law a message informing her that she was no longer welcome in my home or near any of the kids, and let Layla know what was going on and that she was still welcome to visit/have Robin to stay if mother-in-law was nowhere nearby. My phone has been blowing up ever since with people asking me to reconsider. I haven't said anything about what happened, so can only assume mother-in-law is spreading false information, but all the negative responses are making me doubt if I'm actually in the right. Holy crap, are you ever in the right? You have been a mother to this child, taking care of Robin. And whether or not, if Robin's biological mom did want to help, fulfill that role in some regard, I imagine a conversation would happen at that point. But for this mother-in-law or whatever to come in and act like this and tell this child she's going to take him away and to call the person who posted this unfit because they're deaf. Being deaf does not make you an unfit parent at all. You're a perfectly capable parent. And the fact that not only is Robin absolutely fine in a home that has American Sign Language going on, but what an amazing benefit for Robin to also be able to learn American Sign Language, to learn this wonderful, valuable way of communicating that, honestly, I wish I would get back into learning. I tried to learn it back in junior high and high school, and I used to know a bit more. Now I'm super bad and rusty, but I should learn it again. It is wonderful. And it makes me so upset that mother-in-law would be like that. What an absolutely awful, awful way to be. And I know that in her head, it's for the best for the child or something. She thinks she's doing a good thing. But if you think you're doing a good thing by disparaging someone else, then you need to rethink that. And to this person who has continued to take care of Robin and all that stuff and be a mother figure in Robin's life, thank you. Story 1. Am I the a-hole for asking my sister what the F she expected to happen at her crap show of a bachelorette party? For some reason, my 32 female sister, 23, and her fiance, 25, decided that the very best way to celebrate before getting married was to have a joint bachelor/bachelorette party at strip clubs. They also hired a bus limo for the evening. The aftermath was, thus far, 3 breakups, 4 people dropping out of the wedding party, 1 impending divorce, and 1 arrest. The cleaning bill for the limo was more than the original rental fee also. She was crying to our mom at dinner the other day, and I snorted. I tried not to, I honestly did. I was trying my best to just keep my mouth shut. She asked me what was so funny. I said that I wasn't sure what she expected to happen getting a group of people drunk using illicit substances and getting horned up and watching exotic dancers. She said that I was an a-hole for judging her and her friends. I said I wasn't judging, just that literally anyone could have seen that outcome. My mom told me to apologize because my sister is having to replace most of her wedding party on the fly. I did. I still think I'm right. Am I the a-hole? Look, I'm a real open-minded person about a lot of stuff, I'm a pansexual. I'm very open with a lot of that kind of stuff. I've done erotica and things like that. I am totally down with polyamory or people who are into open relationships and all that kind of stuff. There's so much of that stuff that is fine if you know somebody and you have a lot of good open communication, but to have a joint wedding party at strip clubs with illicit substances with people in their younger 20s who maybe haven't fully figured all that stuff out and had a chance to become comfortable with all of those things. It's not a diss on anyone in their 20s. It really isn't. It's just you probably haven't had that life experience and relationship experience to go through with that kind of stuff. But to combine all of those things is so volatile, and I think anyone could see it coming. And are you an a-hole for pointing out the obvious? I mean, sometimes knowing when to keep your mouth shut is the nicer thing, and your sister was already going through a lot. So I would say, yeah, maybe a little, but I mean, how could you not be in that instant? Story 2. Am I the a-hole for not letting my roommate's boyfriend in the room? My roommate and I live in a typical student dorm at our university. We didn't know each other going into the year, but we've definitely formed a friendship. We're not like best friends or anything, but we get along well. We never really officially discussed boundaries or anything like that. We just treat each other with respect and use common sense, and that's worked out for us at the time we've been living together. Every now and then she'll tell me about her boyfriend, but she's never shown me any pictures or anything. All I know is he goes to another school a few states, and they've been together since high school. One day she tells me she's going to visit because she has a fall break. I didn't ask any kind of details when she said this and just said okay. Yesterday I got a text from her saying that her boyfriend was on his way and asked if I could let him in the room if he shows up before she's back. However, I didn't see this text until I got a knock on the door. I look through the peephole and ask who it is, and he announces himself as my roommate's boyfriend. Now, I had never seen this guy before in my life, so I didn't let him. I asked him if he could just wait until she was back from class. He just said, "Sorry to bother you," and walked away. About 30 minutes later, my roommate comes back with the guy from before. She starts asking me why I didn't let him in. I told her that I had no idea what her boyfriend looked like and wasn't comfortable with some random guy coming into the room while I was alone. She told me that I was overreacting and needed to grow up. They leave and don't come back until much later. I'm just about to go to sleep and ask how much longer he'll be staying, and he says probably just the next 2 nights. I ask him where he's staying, and he gets this confused look on his face. Then he says he's staying in our room. I told both of them I never agreed to anything like that and that he would need to leave. My roommate then proceeded to call me a B. I stood firm and finally they both left. My roommate sent me a message saying that they ended up sleeping in his car and were trying to guilt trip me. Am I the a-hole? Nope. I know college stuff is tricky and a lot of times people end up having to share bedrooms, especially in dorms and stuff like that. And yeah, it's, not an unheard of scenario that in college it's like, oh, I'm there and my roommate's got their significant other over and they're even going at it while I'm trying to sleep. But I know that's typical. It's not unusual. But maybe it should be. Like, if you have to live with someone, a roommate, a significant other, stuff like that, you have to have understandings with one another and be comfortable with one another. And especially in college, when you're sharing a bedroom space where you're sleeping, to have a stranger there overnight, it's like, no, that needs to be okay with everyone. You don't just drop that on somebody. You have to discuss beforehand, like, hey, my boyfriend's going to be around. Is it okay if he stays in the room with us? Are you comfortable with that? Like, you don't know what the person who posted this has been through. Maybe they have some trauma in the past. And even if they don't, they have a right to want to be, feel secure and safe with people that they know in their bedroom. So yeah, I don't think that this person is the a-hole in this case. As typical as these scenarios are in college, I'm sorry, but you gotta respect your roommates. Story 3. Today, I effed up by sending nudes to my employee group chat. Well, I recently started a new job about 5 to 6 months ago doing some tech work, trying not to be too specific. With that being said, I'm pretty young, 24, definitely the youngest that works there so far. I mostly work with other men, 30 to 40. We have a group me for the store I work at, which includes the owner, the manager, and 5 to 6 other employees. The previous night, I had been feeling a little frisky and desired to take some pictures/videos for the guy that I was with at the time. No biggie, right? The next morning, I had work, go in as normal, pretty busy day actually. Noon rolls around and I needed to post a picture to the group me about an issue I was having with a computer I was working on. I typed what I needed to say, I clicked the camera roll icon, and just as I clicked the picture, a customer came up and started asking me a question. I hit send without thinking and go on about my day. I should also probably say that by this time I was working alone and closing so no one else was around. The customer who came in kept me pretty busy for 30 to 45 minutes. When they finally left, I went to check my phone and saw I had a bunch of missed calls from my boss. At first, I thought he was just calling me about the question I had while the group phone was ringing. I went back to look at the group me. To my horror, I clicked not just a picture from the night before, but the whole damn video. My heart dropped instantly when I realized what happened. My boss picked up the phone. He began questioning me about what my intentions were with the video, and that he's never had anyone do such a disrespectful act in the company before. I tried to explain, but needless to say, that was my last day working there. LOL, on the bright side, the coworker I had a crush on finally got his attention. Oh, I feel so bad for this person, and my advice here is, always useful in hindsight, but can't help this person. But folks, if you are going to take promiscuous photos of yourself at a legal age, please, and you're sending them to someone else for whatever reason, that's your business. You just delete them off your phone immediately, though. Delete them as soon as you possibly can, because it is so easy on these dumb little touch screens to accidentally, tap the wrong little thing and accidentally send a picture of your butthole to your parents or something. I don't know what you're doing, but those accidents are always going to happen. So just try and make sure they can't happen, if at all possible, for your own sake. And when it does happen, I would hope that the boss could, forgive something like this and be understanding about how easy that crap is on a phone. But if you're sending a video that I imagine contains some stuff to work and it's just sitting there for half an hour or whatever, while you're doing stuff, why are you clicking send on things without looking because a customer talked? Don't. Oh gosh. Oh, I feel so bad for this person. Folks, just be so paranoid about that stuff. The moment that stuff is on your phone, it is just a click away from being out in the wild. Story 1. Am I the a-hole for demanding my girlfriend to change her dress for a wedding? This happened during this weekend, me being in my early 30s and my girlfriend in her late 20s. I was invited to a wedding ceremony of a colleague and could bring someone with me. I asked my girlfriend that I've been dating for a year if she would like to join me, and she was really happy because she apparently loves weddings. Since we don't live together, I drove to pick her up so we'd have some time to spare before the ceremony. As she comes out, she looks really beautiful and has obviously put in time to fix her hair and makeup. She's also wearing an off-white dress that was rather ornate. As she got in, I told her that she looked stunning, but I asked if she could change to a different colored dress for the ceremony. I'm not one for etiquette by far, but one of the few things I have heard everywhere is that you should not wear a white dress to a wedding unless you're the bride. She became pretty upset and wanted to know what was wrong with her dress. I said that it would be inappropriate to wear a white or off-white dress unless you're the bride, and that it's like a wedding law or something, trying to be lighthearted about it. She rolled her eyes and said that it was an outdated tradition about women and virginity, and that when her friends got married, everyone wore white, and that it's not a big thing anymore. I told her that I don't know what the dress code is for this ceremony, but since it's not saying all white clothes, I still thought that she should change to another color, but white or almost white, because my colleague was getting married and we had no idea how she felt about it. My girlfriend became really upset and told me that I was trying to control what she was wearing and that it was abusive, which honestly made me really upset and hurt. I said something along the lines of, well, you shouldn't go to a wedding with an abuser then. And then I told her to F off out of my car. She began to cry and wanted to apologize and give me a hug, but I just told her to get out, which she did. Edit to clarify, we never left the driveway by her home. I did not drop her off in the middle of nowhere or anything like that. I drove off and she called and texted me a bunch. I answered, I don't want to talk right now, and then turned my phone off and attended the ceremony. The bride was the only one that was wearing white, so I feel as if my gut feeling was the right one. When I got home, my phone had been blown up by texts from her and her best friend saying that I was being inconsiderate and controlling and should apologize for my behavior. I vented to a few friends, most of them agreeing with me, but some have said that it was an a-hole thing to tell her that she could not wear her dress because it had nothing to do with me. I feel as if I was in the right since it was my colleague's wedding and it was better to be safe than sorry, but I'm also not sure if I was being an a-hole about the situation. So, am I the a-hole? This is a tricky one, because I absolutely do agree that the whole not wearing white to the wedding, any of that stuff is definitely outdated and just, it shouldn't be a thing. And also brides should be able to wear, hot pink or blue or black or whatever to a wedding. You should be able to wear whatever you want. But on the other hand, you should, to a reasonable extent, respect the wishes of the bride and groom. And if they do like that tradition and they do want the bride to be the only one wearing white, then you should respect that. But I mean, in this situation, you didn't know and the dress was off-white. I mean, I've seen plenty of people go with like off-white cream colored, dresses and stuff like that to weddings, and it's never been even remotely a deal. So I don't know. I really don't know how to feel about this. I feel like the girlfriend was definitely a little harsh and snapping, saying that you're being, an abuser and stuff like that. Like, you're just nervous about, upsetting these people and your colleagues and, all that stuff. Maybe you were too harsh about it. I don't know. Your reaction of being like, well, you don't want to go with an abuser and telling her to just get out. I don't think that was great either. I think you should have expressed your feelings and communicated that's a really hurtful thing. And that's not what I'm trying to go for. And try to have a conversation. But how long of a conversation can you have before the wedding? There's so much going on here. And I don't think that there's a clear-cut line here about I think everyone was a little in the wrong to some degree. And I don't know how it should have all played out, but not like this. I don't know, folks. Get in the comments and, let me know, because I may be completely off base here. I kind of feel like I'm a little in the weeds. I don't know. Story 1. I think my sister-in-law's best friend is trying to get with my husband, and she's encouraging it. Am I delusional? My sister-in-law, 23 female, is my husband, 28 male, half-sister. She was the product of their mother's infidelity. His father divorced their mother when he was 12 after he found out through a paternity test she wasn't his. My father-in-law refused to have anything to do with my sister-in-law, but continued to have a relationship with my husband. Because of this, my sister-in-law is very clingy to my husband. My husband is also very protective of his sister and generally doesn't tolerate anything negative being said about her, which is why I'm posting this here before mentioning anything to him. My husband and I bought a house last year which has its own indoor swimming pool. My sister-in-law was super excited when she saw it and asked if she could use it sometimes with her friend. We said it was fine as long as she gave us a notice before she turned up. Her and her friend Chloe have used it many times before, but almost never when my husband is home. He's a lawyer and works long hours. With the lockdown, my husband started to work from home. My sister-in-law asked me if she and Chloe could come over and use the pool. I told her I was uncomfortable with them coming over as I'm pregnant and don't want to accidentally expose the baby to anything risky. My sister-in-law then asked if she and Chloe quarantined for 2 weeks, would they be able to come over? My husband said it was fine. 2 weeks later, they turned up at my house. My husband was in his office, so they went straight to the pool after making small talk. My husband ends up coming out after an hour and we're hanging out in the kitchen. My sister-in-law walks in to get a drink, and she starts talking to my husband. Before she goes back to the pool, she says, "Chloe's going to be so happy to see you." It was weird because my husband and Chloe aren't close. Chloe comes into the kitchen 2 minutes later and spends the rest of her time talking to my husband until he excuses himself to get back to work. She's super giggly and smiles when she talks to him. He would say something sarcastic and she would laugh like it was the funniest joke she's ever heard. It honestly felt like she was flirting with him. Before she went back to the pool, she gave me this weird, smirky look. Before they leave, they ask my husband if he's working from home every day of the week. He confirms he is. The next 2 weeks, they come over to the house to swim every single day, except Chloe never gets in the water. Instead, she hangs around the house in her bikini, she was previously wearing a one-piece if that makes a difference, every single day. Whenever my husband comes out to hang around me, she quickly interrupts him and keeps him talking until he has to go back to work. I made lunch for us all, and when I excused myself to call my husband down, my sister-in-law quickly stopped me and said Chloe could call him for me. They shared a look, and Chloe looked really happy when she went to get him. Chloe has also started to get touchier with my husband. She puts her hands on his chest and arms, stands or sits really close to him. To my husband's credit, he does usually create space between them whenever she does something like this. The reason I believe my sister-in-law is in on this is because she made a few pregnancy-related jabs at me recently. She told me a story about how one of her friend's boyfriends was cheating on her and they'd said something along the lines of, "Did you know a lot of men start cheating when their wives are pregnant?" She also made comments about how I look chubby now and it looks weird next to my husband because he's well built. If she spots my husband out of the office, she quickly goes to inform Chloe. I know pregnancy hormones can mess with a person's brain, so I'm wondering if I'm just looking for something that isn't there. My sister-in-law sent me a text yesterday asking if they could come over to swim next week. I really want to say no, but I know she'll whine to my husband if I do. I ideally want to have a conversation with him before then, but I'm not sure if I should mention flirting. Am I being delusional? So, I don't know if this person is being delusional or not, because we're only getting their perspective, and maybe in their minds, maybe hormones or jealousy or something is kind of amplifying how they're telling us about this stuff. And that's okay. That's totally human. But her comfort with this is still important. And so, at the very least, I would say that this person does need to have a conversation with her husband. And I don't think I necessarily phrase it as, they're trying to encourage cheating. That's their plan. Your sister she's plotting. I wouldn't put it that way. I would just say, it does make me a little uncomfortable. And maybe Chloe is just kind of flirty and close by nature, but it's really just not something I'm comfortable with. Do you think that you could maybe mention that to them or something? Like, I would start off there because I do feel like if you go in guns ablaze and just like, j'accuse, then it might not turn out the best. That might start things off, a little too high of a volume. I could be wrong. They might absolutely be plotting something because from the way this reads, this sounds really, really suspect. And the hanging around the house every day in a bikini and never getting in the water, that's a weird one. Yeah. So I don't know. It doesn't sound like a great situation, but I definitely would not start off by saying that. Story 2. My high school, Virginia, just announced all bathrooms are off limits for the rest of the semester. I'm a senior. I'm on my period. I'm actively bleeding in my school chair while typing. The only accessible bathroom is in the office, so we aren't allowed to bring any bags in there. If we're in a stall for more than 5 minutes, it's considered suspicious behavior, and they have the right to search us. The office is 10 minutes away from any core classrooms because of how my school is organized. I shouldn't have to miss 20 minutes of class to use the bathroom. I don't vape, I don't loiter, I use the bathroom normally. I am small, I have a small bladder, I drink water all 8 hours of my school day. If it isn't obvious, I'm fuming. Others should have to pay the price and suffer. I'm not going to comply, I have nothing to hide. What can I do? I really have to pee while writing this, and walking to the other side of the school is too risky. I would absolutely bring this up to, the news. I would show this to journalists, make a TikTok, and get this thing viral, and put that school on blast for their absolutely unacceptable rule. I don't care what brought this on. You can't tell students that bathrooms are off limits except for one bathroom in the office. That's not okay. That's inhumane. Prisons don't do that, okay? So whatever school official thought up this absolutely dumb F idea, this absolute just turd of an idea that's squeezed out of your butthole of a brain is so unbelievably infuriating. All of these students should protest and march out. I get infuriated when there are teachers who try and restrict bathroom use, but for a whole school to basically say that for the entire day, even in between classes and everything, no using the bathrooms, no taking over 5 minutes or we can search you. Nope, not okay. Not okay in the least. And whatever problem you had, this solution isn't it. It's absolutely just flooring me how bad of an idea this is coming from people who are supposed to work in education. You're supposed to be teaching these kids, but you came up with this? F-. See me after class, you dorks. Story 3. Charged them for the same family rate they charged me. My child's daycare had a death in the family. It's a small family-owned place, so this affected all the employees. They sent out an email at like 3 a.m. I couldn't miss work as I had a very important day, so I scrambled to find a sitter just for that day. My stepbrother's girlfriend was basically the only person I know that doesn't work, so I called her. She says, "Sure, but I can only watch him for 6 hours, and I'll give you my family rate, so it will only be $200. I asked if she was serious. She assured me she was, and that this was her livelihood, and she takes it very seriously. That she was already offering me a family discount. Please note that it was not her livelihood. My stepbrother has a great job and is always paid for everything. He has tried to get her to do anything to earn money, but she refuses to work and believes he should support her fully, including daily Starbucks, hair, nails, designer stuff, etc. Please also note that I had done a lot for this girl just to help her out. This list is long. I agreed only because I would have lost my job had I not gone to work that day. I paid her $200, which she demanded up front, to get to work for a little over 4 hours after factoring the commute. Fast forward a couple of years, they've separated, they have a kid, and she is living for free in his dad's extra house and driving my dad's extra car for free. The ex pays all the bills and necessities. She finally breaks down and gets a job because he stopped paying for her hair, nails, etc. She has a day when her child care falls through and sends out the same request I did. "Can anyone watch my kid? I have to go to work or I'll get fired." I told her I could absolutely do it, then charged her the same bogus price she charged me. I told her it was the family rate. She cussed me out. Why would she do that? Why wouldn't she be so thankful that you're giving her the family rate? What a generous thing for you to do. She should have been like, "Thank you so much." Or at the very least, to be more serious, the fact that she cussed you out instead of going, "Okay, I see what I did back then was real crappy of me to do, and I feel bad for that. How can I make it up to you? I need help." But no, to cuss her out and be like, "How dare you, you're in the wrong," or whatever she said, just mind-blowing to me. Just absolutely, and it makes me so mad. Also, 6 hours of babysitting, $200. Like, I know some people try and pay babysitters way too little. Like, they're like, "Don't worry, I'll give you $2 an hour. Aren't you lucky, kiddo?" It's like, no, what? But that's over $30 an hour. That's a lot. That's like, what, $33 an hour, essentially? That's too much money for babysitting, I feel like. I mean, and if it's not, I know the economy's bad, but come on, $33 an hour for babysitting? No, unless that baby is the devil. Story 1. I found out that my 24 female close friend, 21 female, has fabricated most of her life. What do I do? Hey folks, quick content warning for this story. It's going to contain mentions of self-harm and self-termination, miscarriage, abortion, and mental health issues. And so if you find yourself sensitive to that, just be prepared. This all came to light after I tried to do something nice for my best friend, who I'll call Jessie. Just for clarification, the other names that will be used are B, my best friend, Sharon, my best friend's little sister, and Jack, a mutual friend. This post is going to be long, but you need all the information. I don't even know how to put it into words. Important backstory. I met Jessie through B and Sharon. Jessie was Sharon's high school best friend, and because B and I lived together, we would all hang out as a group. Jessie seemed to take a liking to hanging out with B and I about 2 years ago and started hanging around us more. She quickly became one of our very close friends. B and Sharon's father passed away from brain cancer in September of 2022, so less than a year ago. He was also like a father to me because I've not had a father figure for the past 12 years of my life. Jessie has a childhood history of lying, which we attributed to her being the youngest sister and the fact that she didn't have many friends growing up. Anyway, I have a large friend group, maybe 8 to 10 people outside of B and Jessie. After he passed away, I ended up introducing both B and Jessie to this friend group. I want to say around November or December of 2022, as Sharon got a boyfriend and started to spend most of her time with him. Jessie latched on to the group and got comfortable enough to hang out with them without me around. I was glad to see this, and I involved her in almost every aspect of my life because my friend group is truly like my family. She uses B and I's car frequently as she doesn't have her own. B got her a job at a restaurant she worked at, etc. We buy food at her apartment we know she likes, she eats dinner that I cook, drinks our alcohol, etc. She's never offered to pay us back / contribute to food and alcohol consumption / etc., but we figured she was just forgetful. Shortly after I introduced her to the group, she confided in everyone that her mom may have lung cancer. We all were there for her and supported her while she was waiting for the test results. When they came back positive, we all offered to cook meals and send cards and letters, but Jessie declined, stating that none of that was necessary. It was caught early and she was just needed to have it removed. We never heard anything else about it other than that her mom was doing fine. In late March, she started casually seeing a member of the friend group named Jack. He lives about an hour away from us, but visits the group when he can. I had also been seeing someone who I'll call Peter. Jessie said that she and Jack had gotten really close and they were possibly talking about dating, but that they were probably going to hold off because of the distance. Jessie said she introduced Jack to her horse, that he would come stay at her parents' house, etc. During this time, she also got a new job as an engineer at a very prestigious company that was out of the area. She quit working for B's job serving / housing. It started as an internship, but transitioned into more. She said that it was a mostly work-from-home position and that it paid incredibly well, even saying she had one of our friends look over. When my birthday came around in June, we planned a big party in our friend group because 2 of our other friends have birthdays around the same time. It was a costume party, yes, in June, where you show up as either a hero or a villain. About 2 hours before the party was supposed to start, Jessie texted B saying her mother had tried to commit self-termination and was in the hospital, but that Jessie was going to try and come to the party just without a costume. I was very understanding. When she arrived, she took B and some of my other close friends into a private room away from the party and explained in detail what happened, that she was the one who found her mom, she had to call 911, it was all very traumatic, etc. Everyone still had fun, but it took a lot of joy away from the party. At the time, I was trying not to be upset / selfish because I knew that her mom was important to her and that all our friends were here, so she didn't really have anywhere else to go. Right after my birthday, I found out that Peter was manipulating me and everyone else in my friend group into thinking he wanted a relationship with me, told me he wanted to move cross-country with him, etc., only to find out that that was all a lie and he was using me for emotional intimacy. While I was going through this, Jessie was saying that Jack was doing the exact same thing to her. We sat on the couch and grieved together. I was sad for her. She dragged his name through the mud in our friend group, but continued to say she was seeing him casually / just for intercourse now without any emotional involvement. A few days ago, maybe about a week or so, Jessie confided in us that her mother's cancer had possibly come back. She had the scan results in a matter of days. She had been saying that her uncle worked for some doctor's hospital and was able to expedite results and said they were positive. We were there for her. Very long story shortened as much as I can, I decided to do something nice for Jessie to try and show that I care. I am autistic and I have a hard time offering physical and emotional comfort. I am an artist and I was trying to draw her a picture of her horse and paint it with watercolors. I realized that I didn't have any pictures of her horse, so I reached out to Jack and asked for a description / picture since I knew he had met her. He responded with, "Jessie has a horse?" I thought he was joking at first, but I very quickly realized he had no idea what I was talking about. Turns out, he and Jessie hadn't been seeing each other at all. They had slept together a few times in April, but had cut it off after that. He provided screenshots of their conversations since then, and it was captured in 2 pictures. He also provided timestamp photos of him literally out of state when she said they supposedly were together. This started an entire spiral of realizing that nothing she had ever said actually made sense. I reverse image searched a photo she had sent us, an incredibly grainy one, of her at a rodeo, and it was literally a doctored stock image. This is the only picture of her with a horse that she had ever sent and that I have ever seen. There's none on her social media or on her phone. I asked everyone in our friend group and no one had seen pictures of her horse, and it isn't on any of her social media. There's almost no way that she has this job at this big company because she never graduated college and her position requires a college education. She also had previously used B's laptop to work, but upon checking computer history, the only thing it shows she was working on was a D&D campaign. She also is never in the location that the company is actually in, always seems to have the day off with PTO or be done with her work, and conveniently never has her card on her to pay for things or is locked out of her Cash App / Venmo and will bring cash the next time she sees us, but somehow always forgets that she owes us money, almost as if she doesn't have any money to give us. She literally told Jack that she had a Skyline GTR type of car with a base price of over $100,000, but that she wrecked it. Neither B nor I have ever heard of this story. I started to remember things she told us that just didn't make any sense and felt like they had been taken out of our own lives. She said she was robbed at gunpoint, but the timeline of the police making an arrest and returning her belongings less than 24 hours made no sense. I would know because I was robbed 2 years ago and had to testify in court because he stole my car. I have a copy of the security footage of my phone because I had to turn it in to my insurance. I have also had a gun put to my head by an ex-partner who I literally had to have arrested. She said her mom attempted self-termination, but Jesse's location never once said she was at a hospital. All of us share our locations with each other. And B has seen her mom over FaceTime since then. No scars where there definitely would have been based on the details that Jesse provided. And the cancer? I think that there was likely some sort of scare, but I don't know that I believe her mom was ever actually diagnosed, especially not this second time. My granddad and B's dad passed from cancer. I know how long it takes to get those results because waiting is agonizing. I have proof that at the time Jessie says she was at the hospital with her mom who was having multiple seizures literally last night, her location shows her sitting at home. Things in our home have also gone missing. Chargers, grinders and their contents, clothing, etc. Jessie is always the first to blame other people that have been in our home, but she literally has access to our apartment at all times. She's been there before when we aren't home. What if she's been having people over and claiming it's her apartment? Stuff has been moved and things have gone missing. I literally don't know what to do or how to process any of this. I did some sleuthing and messaged her sisters on Instagram asking for a photo of Jessie's horse and offering my support with their mother's diagnosis. I'm anxiously awaiting a response. In the meantime, B and I have to see her tonight and put on the performance of a lifetime. Even if she isn't lying about her mom, although all of the other evidence I don't have the energy or ability to describe in this post points to the fact that it's all fake, the way that she manipulated me into offering her support during one of the lowest times of my life and lied about my friend to our entire friend group is enough for me to cut her off. I'm just trying to let the right pieces fall into place and get as much information as I can before I confront her with printed screenshots. We lied and said they were doing a battery check on our key fobs and asked her to bring hers with her tonight, as well as all of the clothes that she has of ours so we can take inventory and figure out what we need to buy for our winter wardrobe. She will not be getting the fob back or be borrowing any clothes. She will absolutely not be coming back with us to our apartment to stay and won't be left alone with any of our belongings. What the hell do I do? How do I tell the rest of the shared friend group that she's been lying the whole time? I don't understand why she would lie about any of this or the other things she's just invented. Is this some sort of mental illness that can be treated? Please help. Any thoughts or advice are helpful. Examples of some other possible likely lies. She is a licensed mechanic. She wasn't able to help me with an oil change because she didn't know how, which I thought was suspicious. She got kicked out of a Zach Bryan concert because the girl in front of her was making fun of her Doc Martens and she fought her. She drove my car to the concert, returned it with an empty tank, and did not offer to put gas in it. But she never posted any pictures of the concert or the event, and she always does this. Her dad was abusive. She said this after she found out that my dad assaulted me. Her ex was abusive, said this after she found out that I survived 2 DV relationships. She had a large S tattoo removed from her abdomen, and they used a special cream to make sure it didn't scar. To my knowledge, there's no such thing and no evidence or picture of said tattoo. Jack gave her a Patagonia jacket to keep and remember him by while he wasn't with her because it didn't fit him right. He denied this and said that he accidentally left it in her car when she gave him a ride to a bar and used to wear it every day to work. She had an abortion at 6 to 7 months, said this after she found out about my abortion due to the DV situation I was in, claimed it was for the same reason. Said she vacuumed B's floor after staying in her house for 5 days. She has psoriasis and sheds all over the house. The vacuum was in the exact same spot that it was in when I had last used it the day prior in the living room, and when B swept the floor, it wasn't clean at all. There were flakes literally everywhere. There are so many more, but I'm already blown away by this. My brain is literally mush at this point. So I mean, to this person, there can be certain mental illnesses that might get a person lying a lot. It is something that can happen. There might be traumas in Jessie's past that have led to her, first using lying as a survival or coping mechanism, and now it has just become this natural thing that she can't really break out of. I mean, there are a number of possibilities, and a number of them would lead to the fact that Jessie probably needs some help. However, also what she is doing is having an effect on you, and, she is emotionally manipulating and lying to you, possibly taking stuff from you, and she is accountable for all of that at the same time, and so you're, I think, very justified in creating space there and, confronting her about this, and maybe suggesting that she needs to get help, while at the same time being like, look, until you do try and get some help for this and stuff, we need space here. And you could potentially still preserve a relationship. It's hard to say what Jessie has been through, but I think that no matter what, yeah, get some space, protect yourself and your things, and the rest is really up to her. Story 1. Am I the a-hole for refusing to have any contact with my late husband's affair child? This is a long story, so buckle up. 7 years ago, my husband passed away. A few months after he passed away, a 15-year-old teenager came to my house. She revealed that she was his daughter. His name isn't on her birth certificate, but he really stepped up after he found out that her mom died when she was 10. She went to live with her grandmother, and my husband paid her grandmother each month to help with the expenses. After my husband died, the payments stopped and her grandmother threw her out. After being homeless for a couple of weeks, she came to my house. This was a pretty big shock to me, and I cannot stress how much I didn't want this person in my house. At the same time, I couldn't leave a child homeless, so I told her that I would help her and give her a place to stay. I also warned her that I only want to help her out and that I am not taking any maternal role and she shouldn't expect me to. She agreed. She stayed at my house from the years of 15 to 18. My kid had already gone off to college, and I didn't mind. I never acted on the resentment I felt, but at the same time, I refused to do anything that could be considered parent-like. I pretty much only provided her with food and gave her a place to stay, that's it. She left when she was 18. I didn't have any contact with her after she left. She's now 20, and she contacted me recently. She wanted to connect, and she told me that I'm the only mother figure she has. She wanted to bond with me, and she wanted me to consider her a daughter to me. After some contemplation, I reminded her that it wasn't a role I was willing to take, and that it was something I warned about very early on. I helped her because she needed it, not because I loved her. She cried and told me that it wasn't fair and I wasn't giving her a chance. The thing is, I don't think I have to. I've tried refusing politely, but she keeps pushing this, and I'm about to block her everywhere. My kid, who has always refused to even talk to the girl, thinks I'm right. My friends are divided on this issue. Am I the a-hole here? We talk about a situation that there's really not much of a precedent for. I don't think that you're an a-hole. You're not required to feel an emotion and a connection with someone that you don't feel. And so, no, I don't think that you're an a-hole. I mean, would it have been a nice thing if you could have connected and stuff? Yeah, maybe, but you certainly don't have to. I mean, I feel bad for that girl, she's, doesn't have a mom, doesn't have a dad, the grandma kicking her out, I don't know what that's about, but come on, grandma, be there for the kids. So yeah, that really, really sucks for that person. And I would want to do what I could to help her and help her find a new family of her own, friends and stuff like that to connect with. But yeah, I mean, I get both sides, but in the end, no, you can't force a connection with somebody like that. And so, no, you're not an a-hole. As much as I really feel bad for that young girl, hopefully she can find, the family that she needs. Story 2. I found a hidden camera in my room. On June 15th, I heard a talking device in my room. It said something somewhat quietly, and I couldn't understand it. I jokingly texted my boyfriend that something in my room was talking to me, thinking it was just some device I might have left on or something, so then we both just disregarded it and let it be. Everything was fine until Sunday night when I heard something clearly say something like, "The camera connection is successful." I thought it was strange, so I started looking around and went through literally everything in my room and moved my dresser forward a bit, but could not find anything. I then called my boyfriend about it, and he told me if I found whatever it was to just throw it away. So I continued my night like normal and played some games, then went to bed. The next morning, I wanted to watch some TV on my Roku, but apparently when I moved my dresser looking for the sound, I knocked it down, so I had to move my dresser more and look completely behind it. I had a pile of stuffed animals leaning against the dresser, so to avoid them falling over, I moved them out of the way. But when I did, I found a home camera plugged in behind my dresser and it was on. I quickly unplugged it and called my mom crying. She was at work. She seemed freaked out yet somewhat calm and told me we'd figure it out when she got home. But I had work and was going to my boyfriend's house after. So this camera was in my room for 2 weeks, and at this point I was freaked out. Nobody had been to our house in a while, and the only people in the house were my 2 brothers, mom, and stepdad, and we have deadlocks on our doors, so there's no possible way of someone breaking in. It has to be one of my very own family members, and I don't know how to find out who. My boyfriend and I have the camera, but my parents are telling me to bring it back because they paid for it, and that I should just let it go because we won't find out who hid it in my room, and that they are setting it up in our living room because that's where it used to be to see the front door. So my parents are being really chill about this situation and aren't trying anything to find out who it was and only care about the fact that they paid for it and want it back. My boyfriend and I want to take it to the police, but my parents are telling us no, and I'm afraid they'll kick me out or treat me badly if we do. I'm staying with my boyfriend because I'm terrified to go back. Someone in my house has been watching me without clothes and everything, and my guesses are it's my teen stepbrother or stepdad, but no matter who it is, I'm pretty sure my mom is covering for them. Note, my mom would never do something like this. Yeah, I'm sorry, if mom is not on the side of finding out who is doing this, then you can't trust your mom. You go to the police with this or something. Do not go back to that house. How can you feel safe there? That is just such an unbelievable violation of your privacy, and the fact that they're all just like, well, we paid for that camera, bring it back. No, absolutely not. That's so gross, and just, like I said, how would you ever feel safe there anymore knowing that one of your own family members did this? That is genuinely very terrifying and something that you should be pressing charges over. I can't understand how the mom can try and brush this aside, probably because she doesn't want to have to think about just how awful that is. Like, knowing that one of these people that she loves and trusts could do something like this. But I'm sorry, Mom. You can not want to acknowledge that someone in your family's doing it, but you kind of have to because your daughter is at risk. So do something, Mom. And daughter, do not take chances. That is not a safe environment. Story 3. The customer who tipped a fake $100 bill. This is not my story. This happened to my friend. They don't use Reddit, and when they told me this, I had to share because I love it, and I'd never expect it from the friend who did it. I work as a server. This one guy always comes to the restaurant I work at. He usually is pretty quiet and never tips too well. Most of the time he comes with a couple of friends or by himself and sits at the bar and watches a sports game. I've never had a problem with him until he came in one day with a date. I've never seen the woman before, so I assume they were new to dating. Anyways, they sat at the table this time in a more quiet part of the restaurant, and they were sitting at one of my tables. I had no problem with them, and everything was going fine. They asked for the check, and I went right around the corner from their table. It was close by, so I was quick. As I was coming back to the table, the guy says to the woman, "Watch this," as he puts down a $100 bill on the table. He saw me, and he was joking like, "Oh, you weren't supposed to see that." And I was ecstatic either way, even though it was so obvious he was trying to impress the woman. I didn't care. I waited till they left to go grab the $100 bill. When I unfolded it, it was one of those fake $100 bills, I guess, for pranks. That means this freaking guy planned this out to impress this woman. It was so frustrating because I needed the money, but at the same time, I thought it was because I did a great job. Either the woman was in on it or he decided to be a jerk in 2 different ways. Told my manager and he was like, "Wow, that's ridiculous." I decided to hold on to it because I knew the day would come when I could get back at this guy. 2 weeks later, my manager recognized the guy, and while I was working at the time, I was in a different side of the restaurant, which was already full. My manager found me and asked if I wanted that customer's table as well, and told me he was with the woman from last time. I often joked with my manager about throwing the fake $100 back on the table in front of that woman if he ever came back to embarrass him. I thought to myself, yeah, I may be busy already, but if I also thought, sure, what's one more table? Told my manager, absolutely, no problem, with a smirk on my face. Before I went over to their table, I ran out to my car to grab the fake $100 bill that was sitting in my cup holder for this exact moment. I got to their table, and they instantly recognized me. The woman seemed normal, but the guy looked like he was nervous. I pretended nothing happened all the way until I got their check. When I brought the check back, I placed it down on the table as well as the fake 100, but left it unfolded so the fake part was showing. I looked at the guy and said, hey, not sure if you remember me from last time, but I believe you forgot this. Just returning it because I believe it was too much. The woman looked very confused, so I instantly knew she was not part of it. But the guy got all nervous and said, I don't know what that is. I said, oh, my mistake, and laughed and said to the woman, have a good night, and walked away. When I came back, there was a big 0 on the signed copy and a $50 bill, real this time, where the woman was sitting after they had left. One can only assume that the guy didn't want to tip on his card, so he wrote obnoxiously big zeros on the tip, and that $50 just happened to be where the woman was sitting. So I'm hoping she had placed it there. Now, I don't know what happened with the couple or if they stayed together, but I haven't seen them back since, and it's been a few weeks, and I really hope she looks for his red flags now. So first off, I've often dreamed of opening my own little restaurant, just like a little tavern bar kind of thing. Oh, it would be so nice. Seriously, folks, one of these days, I'm probably not going to do it, but I want to. And I can tell you this, if ever I saw a customer or learned about a customer leaving one of these fake $100 bills, they would be banned from the restaurant for life. Just like that. I think that is one of the most gross things that a person can do. If you're ever thinking it might be a funny joke or just a way to get away with something or whatever, you're not a great person. Think about your life, please. Yeah, I hate those fake $100 bills, be it for a prank or the ones where it's like, it's a religious thing, and it's like, oh, the real tip is Jesus. Then I want to shove that fake $100 bill straight up your rear end, you absolute cretin. Don't do this. Don't mess with servers. Their lives are hard enough. Tip, please. I know it sucks and everyone wants to make some excuses. Every time I say this, there's someone in the comments who's just like, whack, whack, whack. In America, you tip. If you want to go out to eat, you tip. It's part of the bill. Tip. Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.